Agents ASMR edition.
Jordan, stop. No. Have we decided to name our podcast Between Two Agents?
I think that's kind of what we kind of went off of. I mean, people liked it. We got a lot of responses on that. Beth Herbster liked it. She said she would tune in if we called it that.
Well, anyway, welcome back to Between Two Agents. I am Becky Call with Keller Williams Realty.
And I'm Jordan Surrett with Green Art Properties at Keller Williams Greenville Central.
Perfect. And what is our topic of conversation today?
So I think we should talk about a lot of things. So main focus is interest rates, right? Because that's what everybody's talking about. Second focus is who should be buying and selling right now.
Right. Because we have clients that we advise don't sell your house right now. Now is not the right time for you to buy. We can get a game plan together, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, what that looks like for you and your family. But my commission is never going to be worth your life for you and your family.
Absolutely. And it's always a case-by-case scenario. So you really have to look at it and see is your situation and what you're doing, can we come up with a strategy that's going to be beneficial to you and your family?
Right. Okay. Let's play a game.
Okay.
I'm a buyer. I'm a first-time home buyer.
Sure.
I'm terrified to buy right now because of where interest rates are.
Sure.
I come to you, I'm like, I want to own a home. I don't know how to do this. What is my best options? Where do I go?
So it depends on your situation. Everything is case by case. So what I would look at is, are you renting? Are you living with family? What are your kind of monthly expenses? What's your credit rating? All of that. And kind of first step is to get you to a mortgage person and say, what can we get you pre-qualified and what would your monthly payment be? Because in the grand scheme of things, price doesn't matter at this point. It's all about monthly payment. Right. Because if you can get a $300,000 house for $2,000 a month, but you're going to be renting for $2,400 a month, it probably makes sense to buy. But if that's the opposite and your monthly payment's going to be higher, then maybe case by case,
So step one, I need to get with a lender and get pre-approved.
Absolutely.
And that's usually tough for people because they want to know. We have so many conversations with our clients and say, I want to know that I can have a house first before I get that hit on my credit.
Sure.
But we don't realize that that's actually out of order because we don't know what you can afford until we sit down with a lender and work through some of those things.
Yeah. And I'm all about strategy. Like I want to come up with the perfect plan in every situation and have 2 backups. So if plan A doesn't work out, then let's go to B and C. And awesome. let's figure out what the best option for you is.
Yes. Now, when I get pre-approved, let's say I have this letter in my hand that says that I can buy a house up to $275,000 for a monthly payment that I'm comfortable with. Where do we go now?
So at that point, let's see kind of what you want. So what are you looking for? Are you looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath? Are you looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Do you want to be in a homeowners association? Or do you want to be out with a little bit of land? Like what fits you and your family? What do you guys need? What are your wants? What are your needs? And let's really talk that through and break it down to somewhere you're going to be happy. So
let's focus now because we've talked before. New construction is actually a phenomenal way to go, especially for first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
Most people want acreage. They don't want to be in a subdivision. They don't want to live in the tract home communities. But there is such an advantage to that if you can suck it up for a couple years, right?
And that's the thing, like a lot of people, and when you really sit down and start talking to them, then you can come up with a long-term plan. Most people are thinking about the short term. And so they don't think, okay, well, I can go in, and builders are offering so many incentives right now. It's crazy. I mean, like I know builders that are giving, they're paying most of your closing costs. They're buying down your interest rate to, below 6, which is insane. I mean, that's on a $300,000 house. I was looking at the numbers earlier. On a $300,000 house at 8.5% interest rate, which is kind of national-ish. I mean, national average is about 8, but when you're really talking, you're talking about 8.5%. But at a $300,000 house at 8.5%, you're looking close to like $3,000 a month, depending on your situation always.
Right.
And then if you drop that to 5.875, you're only talking about $2,500. So that's saving you $500 a month on your payment. So you can afford more and be comfortable in a bigger house that's brand new. And so if you can do that for a couple of years, I mean, and then sell it, and have equity in it. I mean, there's a lot of perks to that.
And I think that's part of, everybody who's scared right now just doesn't have enough information in front of them,
Yeah.
right? Like if you knew that you could go and buy a $275,000 house, that the builder is going to buy your interest rate down and spend thousands of dollars to pay your closing costs, that might be the best long-term plan, because when interest rates come back down, whenever that is, whether that's next year or whenever, it's going to be another frenzy like we've seen. People want to buy here. They want to live here. They want to get back in the real estate world. We've gotten scared from interest rates. So when we're not scared anymore, now you're in a position to have equity in your home. You have more cash to play with. You can go to where you want to go, but it takes that first step of purchasing your first house. You can't have equity without owning something.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, or do you want to have your own equity, or are you paying for your equity for your landlord?
Right.
But I mean, and that's the thing. Like you mentioned, we have people coming from all over. Like we have clients from Connecticut, New York, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, from all over coming to the upstate.
State.
Any state is coming right here just to be in our area, because it's phenomenal. We have jobs. We have continuous flow of jobs and like coming into the area. I mean, it's a great area.
Yeah, I'm a little partial, but
yeah, same biased. Maybe we can get back into the ASMR.
Who invited this guy? So now let's talk about, who would you tell not to buy and sell a house right now?
So, and one good example is I have a client right now who's working on their credit. They've had some issues. They are actually going to sell their home, and what a lot of people don't realize is they have tons of equity in their home right now. These people are going to make about $300,000 free money, like in their pocket after the sale of their house. It's going to change their lives.
Right. Because they took a step one time to just buy a house.
Absolutely. And so they don't have the best credit rating. So they're going to actually rent for a year. They're going to sell their home, take the equity, clear up a lot of their debt, pay off student loans, things like that, and rent for a year. And then we're going to start looking at property next year.
That's awesome.
But they have to work on their credit. And so they're selling their house it's literally going to change their life with the amount of equity that they have in their home. And most people have no idea.
I guess another question that I see a lot too is, okay, if I sell my home, I'm sitting on this equity, I have all of this, but now where? Where do I go? I sell my home, I've got cash in my pockets, but the inventory is so limited.
Sure.
And you just hosted a seminar on this, right?
Yeah, I did. So back in August, it's funny. So I make about 100 calls a week, just random calls, whatever. And one of the biggest responses that I get is, but where would I go? If I sell my house, where would I go? And so I got with one of my builders, and we had a little chat and get together with food and everything. But we called it, but where would we go? And our solution to that problem in a lot of cases is new construction because of the incentives. The rate buy down is spectacular right now. The paying the closing cost is spectacular. Plus you get a brand new home with at least a 1-year warranty. In most cases, there's going to be a 5, 10, 20-year warranty. No problems. If anything breaks, somebody's going to come fix it. But it's a brand new home with tons of incentives.
Right.
So that's one of the solutions. Again, everybody's different. But like I said, a strategy. Somebody told me a long time ago and said, there's a riddle. You ready?
No.
Maybe we can do it in the ASMR.
What? Tell me your riddle.
So, if you have 3, you have 3. If you have 2, you have 2. If you have 1, you have none. What am I?
Just tell me.
Options.
Oh. That was kind of good.
I like it. And so I've kind of stuck behind that.
Okay.
And it's like, I like options. Everybody likes options. You don't, if you have 1, you have no options and you feel trapped.
Right.
Whereas if you have 3, you have 3. If you have 2, you have 2. So my goal is to always give you 2 options.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to try to ASMR.
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for it. I was about to get so excited.
I can't do it.
Come on, do some ASMR.
So, number 1, we get pre-approved.
Yes.
Number 2, we figure out if new construction is the best way to go for you and your family.
Sure.
Number 3, we figure out if you want to sell and cash in your equity, what your options are and where you can go.
So there's a caveat between 1 and 2 there.
Oh.
So come up with a strategy. So we got to have a plan. So we got to figure out what you want, if now's the right time to buy, and then we can get into, okay, so let's look at new construction. Let's look at resale homes. Let's look at all the options, the plethora of options.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. If this podcast never happens again, it was your fault.
Oh, yeah, I think it will, though.
I think one thing for me is, real estate agents get such a bad rep of, you just want me to sell my house. You just want to sell this.
Yeah.
You just want to sell. You just want the commission check. And it's like, you have no idea what it feels like to sit here with somebody that realizes their entire life changed because they have $300,000 in equity in their home.
And had no idea.
And if they can just sit there for a year and rent, they can take all of that stress off of student loan debts, credit card debts, bad credit, just being swallowed up by the world because of what they have available to them.
Yep.
So there's just this weird relationship between, I want to help you, but you're under the impression that I want to help myself.
Yeah.
When really, I can't help you if I don't tell you what options you have available to you. So,
well, with those specific people, I have a team of everybody. Like I've been doing this a long time, so I know. So I'm actually hooking them up with a financial advisor because it literally is going to change their life.
Yeah.
It's going $300,000 in their pocket. They're a married couple. They've lived in the house for at least 2 of the past 5 years, so they qualify for 0 taxes on that money. They are going to pocket all of that pay 0 capital gains. And it's going to change their life. So I told them, listen, you guys need to be with a financial advisor who's going to take care of you and show you what to do with this money to make it your benefit. Because so many people, oh my gosh, I've got $300,000. Let's go buy a new car and all this stuff. Let's come up with a plan and make you wealthy.
Amen. I'm in.
Let's do it.
I don't know. There are some bad egg real estate agents that have ruined it for the rest of us.
Oh, yeah.
I want to cancel them.
There's bad apples everywhere.
Done with them.
Yeah.
I'm kicked in the curb. I will never stop hearing you doing the ASMR thing, and I can't. I will never answer your phone calls ever again.
Oh, well, Sorry, it's just kind of random. I woke up in an ASMR mood today. An ASMR mood.
I'm going to say on that note, this has been a really great podcast.
So one more thing I want to touch on. So after that, once you get your kind of strategy together and you find the perfect home, where do you go from there? You make an offer, you get under contract.
Oh, so we're going to walk through now how to buy a house.
Yeah, let's do it.
I am a first-time home buyer because I feel like my first-time home buyers are my babies that I love so much, and I just want to take care of them so well, and I just need to walk them through everything,
Sure.
hold their hands, just, skip through the doors.
Yep.
Okay, so I show up to a house. I've already gotten my pre-approval letter. We've found the criteria that I'm looking for. I find a house. I'm like, yes, this could be the one that I live in, at least for 2 years until I sell it, cash in my equity, change my life, and keep going.
Sure.
So find the house, and now we write the offer. Now what?
So I'm assuming the offer is accepted.
Okay, now my offer gets accepted.
Your offer
We
gets
don't know how to do
accepted.
this. I'm a first-time home buyer. So I sign all the paperwork that says I'm willing to offer this price, blah, 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 close on this day.
They accept
We set it off.
You go under contract. So depending on, and again, strategy, if it's new construction, you kind of go a different route than if it's a resale, kind of. So with new construction, a lot of times you got to play the waiting game. So you got to wait for the house to be ready. It might be a 60-day, 45-day, whatever the case may be. However, on a resale, let's get some inspections done. So in South Carolina, we have a due diligence period to where we actually get all the inspections. We have the right to inspect the property, make sure everything's in working order, any surveys, anything like that we need to get done. And then everything's great. So we go to the next step, right? So all the inspections are done. Everything's great. House is fine. Now we wait on financing.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we just kind of have to wait on underwriting to make sure everything's done. The attorney's going to do title work to make sure that you get clear and insurable title. And then
All of these things mean nothing to a first-time home buyer. So let's go back to due diligence period.
Sure.
I explain it like it's an inspection period, that it's our time to do any homework on the property that we want to.
Yes.
But it is our responsibility to do that homework.
Yes.
If there's a septic tank, making sure the septic tank is in decent working order.
Yep.
If there's a well.
Maybe get it pumped just to make sure.
I accidentally Had a house one time that the septic tank was right next to the well. That was a big problem. So those were things we found during the due diligence period. A regular home inspection, you can, like a pool inspection. There's every type of inspection I feel like you can ever think of.
Yeah.
Just figuring out what inspections are important, what's cost effective to you. And then once those are good, we can negotiate still during that time what we need repaired, what's important to us, maybe get a seller credit towards some things if they pop up during the inspections. So then once that's all done, now underwriting. A lot of my buyers get very frustrated because they feel like once they have that pre-approval letter, they're done. They don't realize the lender is going to ask them for 1 million more documents as they go.
Oh, gosh.
And that it's not the lender's fault. So there's underwriters that talk to the lenders that talk to the clients.
Yep.
The clients don't realize the lenders aren't in charge.
Correct.
They don't have that list waiting for them right now. It's just as we go, things keep popping up.
And it depends on the loan. So if it's an FHA VA loan, there's going to be potentially a lot more stuff than, conventional. And if you're self-employed, there's going to be a lot more stuff than if you're, a W-2 employee. Like there's all the little things that go into it, and every situation is independent of itself.
Right. So we just need to set that expectation that, hey, look, they're going to ask you for 1 million things. Rather than getting frustrated, just get it to them. It's not anybody's fault. It's just making sure that you can actually buy this home and you don't make the biggest financial mistake of your life.
Yep.
So then title work. Tell me a little bit about what title work is.
So they kind of just go back and make sure they'll pull the covenants and restrictions, make sure everything is in order, make sure there's a clear title, make sure there's no liens on the property. So there's different types of liens. There's government liens, tax liens, contractor liens. So if you get a roofer in to replace your roof and he puts on a new roof for $10,000 and then you never pay him, he can actually go to court and say, hey, this person owes me $10,000. Here's all my paperwork. Here's the work I did, and put a lien on your property. Excuse me. So when you sell it, then you actually have to pay that lien before they'll give you clear title. So
which is why title insurance is a beautiful thing.
Very important. Very important.
I had a client that purchased a home last September, and then he went to sell his home again, and less than a year later. And the first attorneys missed a $15,000 lien. And so when he went to sell, title insurance actually paid for that money. So he was frustrated at first for whatever the couple $100 title insurance was.
Sure.
And now he's the biggest proponent of make sure you pay that couple $100 because it saved him turning $15,000. So.
And there's a lot of things like that. Like we could get into home warranties. I had a client that had the same thing a few years ago. Just home warranties are good. I mean, it sucks up front, $500-$600 or more, depending. And then, but when they kick in and it's like, oh my gosh, the home warranty is going to cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or builder's warranty, new construction.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Construction right now. Right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And then, restrictions and covenants versus deed restrictions.
Yes.
Give me a little rundown.
So restrictions and covenants are basically for the property that, sorry, I could go so deep into this.
Let's pull that back out and just go very shallow.
Yeah, that very, very shallow. So basically covenants restrictions are restrictions on the property that restrict the use of the property. So you can't have farm animals on the property is one that is pretty prominent. So you can't have chickens, you can't have goats, certain breeds of dogs, things like that. Whereas deed restrictions would be you can't put a mobile home on this property. You can't, whatever, like specific use.
I've seen a lot where people say my property is unrestricted.
Yep.
And then I go in and I'll pull the deed and all of a sudden there are restrictions on your property. You just didn't know because there was no homeowners association.
For sure.
So that's just something to be mindful of too, is always do your homework during your due diligence period or even beforehand. Go to the county, pull the deed, read through it, and kind of track that to see if there are restrictions or not. Because if you want chickens and all of a sudden you can't have chickens, that could be a deal breaker for somebody.
Absolutely. So I think the moral of the story is get a really good real estate agent on your side.
You know where I can find one?
Yeah, I know a couple actually.
Well, friends, it's been a really good day.
It has.
Anything else, Jordan? Do you want to give us a little more ASMR?
Thank you for tuning in to the Between Two Agents podcast, ASMR edition.
If you guys hate him as much as I do, I apologize.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
We will see you next time.
We'll see you then.